Guruji. Anantam Shukrana Guruji for blessing us with this divine seva of reading as well as listening to the Shivpuran. Let's begin with the synopsis of last week. Last week we read chapter 4 of KotiRudrasamhita of the volume 3 of the Shivpuran. In this we read that once the world was going through severe drought, and during this time sage Atri, who was performing a penance to appease Shiva, was thirsty and requested his wife to bring some water. Now he had a chaste wife named Anusuya who took the water pot and went to the forest to get the water, but she was wondering where to get the water from. Just then she saw Ganga. Ganga had assumed a divine form, so Anusuya walked up to her and asked her who she was. So Ganga told Anusuya that she was Ganga, and she was impressed and delighted with the service she had rendered to her husband and Lord Shiva. So she asked Anusuya to request for a boon. So Anusuya asked her for water. Ganga asked her to dig her a pit, and when Anusuya did that, Ganga entered it, and seeing all this, Anusuya requested Ganga to stay there till her husband came. On advice of Ganga, Anusuya took some of that Ganga water back to her husband. When sage Atri had that water, he instantly realized that this was no regular water and asked Anusuya where she got that water from. So Anusuya told sage Atri that it was because of his merit and his penance that he performed to appease Shiva. By the mercy of Shiva, Ganga had appeared in the forest. So sage Atri and Anusuya then went to that place, and both of them eulogized Ganga. And then after having that water, performing Achman, Ganga told Anusuya that she would return to her place. Then Anusuya requested Ganga to station herself there in her penance grove forever. Now Ganga asked her that since she was a chaste lady, she would agree to it, but in return, she would want the merit of 1 year of Shiva's worshipping that Anusuya had accrued. So seeing all this, Anusuya wanted Ganga to be there, so she decided to give away 1 year's merit of worship of Lord Shiva to Ganga. And as soon as that happened, Ganga decided to stay there in the penance grove, but Lord Shiva was also delighted with that and appeared out of his earthen phallic form. After seeing the divine form of Lord Shiva, the couple eulogized Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva asked them to request for a boon. Both of them requested the Lord to station himself in their penance grove. Lord Shiva and Ganga then stationed themselves in the penance grove or the hermitage of Atri. And after that, several sages came there to that place because they got to know Ganga had appeared there, and several religious rites were performed. After that, the clouds gave away a lot of rain, and the drought vanished, and the plantations bloomed, and the land became green again. So everything thrived, and this form of Lord Shiva is called Atrishwara. This brings us to the end of the synopsis. We will read chapter 5, which is the death of the Brahmin lady and the greatness of Nandikeshwara, and chapter 6, which is the Brahmin lady attains heaven. Today, Rima Auntie will be reading these chapters in English. Enjoy the readings. If any of you are interested in reading the Shivpuran, you can reach out to either Seema Auntie or Rashmi Auntie or me, and we can fix a reading for you. Jai Guruji, Shukrana Guruji, enjoy the readings.
Jai Guruji, Shukrana for the blessed reading today. Chapter 5, The Death of the Brahmin Lady and the Greatness of Nandikeshwara. Suta said, Nilakanta, the great god, stands in the phallic form on the divine mountain, Kalanjara. He is the bestower of bliss to the devotees always. His greatness is divine, as glorified in Shrutis and Smritis. The holy center there is of that name. By taking ceremonial ablution, their sins are quelled. O great ones of good rites, there is no limit to the phallic forms of Shiva on the bank of Reva that bestow all sorts of happiness. The river itself is in the form of Rudra that quells sins by mere sight. Any stone or pebble within it is in the form of Shiva. O great sages, still I shall enumerate and explain the important phallic forms that yield worldly pleasures here and salvation hereafter. One with the good name of Arteshwara is the dispeller of sins. What is famous as Parmeshwara and what is remembered as Simheshwara are good shrines. Sarmesha, Kumareshwara, Pundarikeshwara, and Mandapeshwara are all well known. Tiksnesa is there, which quells sins at the very site. What is called Dhundureshwara is on the banks of the Narmada river. It quells sins. Suleshwara, Kumbeshwara, Kubereshwara, and Someshwara are very famous. Mangalesha is blue-necked and is a great bestower of auspiciousness. Mangaleshwar is blue-necked and is a great bestower of auspiciousness. Lord Mahakaspira was installed by Hanumat. Lord Nandika prevents the sins of a crore of murders. He is glorified as the bestower of the fruits of desire and salvation too. If one worships Nandikesha and great devotion, one will certainly achieve all siddhis. O excellent sages, he who takes bath in the Reva or in its banks realizes all desires and gets rid of sins. The sages said, O highly intelligent one, how is the greatness of Nandikesa there? Let it be kindly mentioned by you now. Suta said, O sages, Sonaka and others, you have well put the question. I shall narrate in the manner I have heard. Listen respectfully. Formerly, the excellent sage was asked by Yudhishthira, out of affection for you, I shall tell you as he had mentioned then. The city named Karniki of great splendor shines on the western bank of the Reva. People of four castes reside there in plenty. A certain noble Brahmin there, born of the family of Utta, entrusted his wife to the care of his two sons and went to Kasi. The Brahmin died there itself. On getting the news, the two sons performed the obsequies. The wife looked after the sons, seeking their welfare. After bringing up the sons, she divided the assets. She reserved some amount for her funeral expenses. After some time, when she was going to die, she made pious gifts of various sorts. O Brahmins, providentially she did not die. When she did not die, providentially the son, observing her ailment, said, The son said, O mother, what is amiss that you suffer so much? Please tell us so that we shall carry it out with pleasure. Suta said, On hearing these words, she said, There is much that is amiss. If you do the same, I shall die happily. The elder son replied, Please do mention, I shall do the same. She then replied, The Brahmin lady said, O son, hear with attention. I had a great desire to go to Kasi. That was not to be. Now I am dying here. Dear son, my bones shall be cast off into the waters of Ganga assiduously. That pious act will bless you to be sure. Suta said, when she of God writes and on the verge of death said, Thus the affectionate elder son replied to her. The son said, O mother, you shall die peacefully and with confidence. I shall carry out your task first and then attend to mine. After saying this, he handed water to her and went to his house. Remembering Shiva, she died in the meantime. After performing her obsequies and the monthly shraddha, he started on his journey. The elder son, who was famous as Suvada, took her bones and started on his pilgrimage. He engaged a servant to accompany him. He consoled his wife and sons. He performed shraddha, dana, and other pious rites. He then set out from his house after Mangala Smarna, accompanied by the servant. He walked about 12 kilometers that day, and when the sun set, he halted at the house of a certain Brahmin in the auspicious village of Vimsatigrama. He performed Sandhya and other rites duly. He recited the hymns of prayer to Shiva of wonderful activities. The Brahmin stayed there accompanied by the servant. The night has passed by 2 Muhurtas when something surprising happened. O sages, listen attentively. I shall tell you everything. The Brahmin lady attains heaven, Suta said. There was a fine cow tied up in the courtyard. The Brahmin of the house, who had gone out, returned after nightfall. O great sages, on seeing the cow tethered in the courtyard, not yet milked, the distressed Brahmin, desirous of milk, it told his wife. In order to milk the cow, he called his wife quickly and said, O beloved, the cow is not yet milked. Thus urged, she brought the calf. O sages, the owner of the house, the Brahmin, desirous of milk, tried to tie up the calf to the peg. Dragged by the leg of calf kicked, O great one of good rights, the Brahmin was put to pain. Infuriated by the kick of the calf, he hit the calf severely with the pieces of firewood. Hit by him, the calf became utterly exhausted. Due to anger, neither the cow was milked nor the calf was untied by the Brahmin. For the pleasure of getting milk, the cow mooed loudly. On hearing the mooing sound of the cow, the calf said, O mother, why do you cry? What is the misery that has befallen you? Please tell me lovingly. On hearing this, the cow said, O son, listen to me. Although I am unable to express my grief adequately, you have been hit by the wicked man. Hence I am distressed. Suta said, on hearing his mother's words, the calf, taking his stand by the principle of previous action, replied, enlightened by his mother, What should be done? Where should we go? Since the results are bound by previous actions, we experience joy or sorrow accordingly. Activities are pursued with pleasure and fruits are derived sorrowfully. There is none who gives misery and none who gives happiness. There is a wrong notion that another man gives us sorrow or pleasure. This is also an illusory concept that it is I who do this or that. Misery or happiness results from our own actions. Hence, action is prominent and everything is founded on action. You, the mother, I, the child, and all the living beings are bound by action. They are not to be bewailed by you. Suta said, on hearing these words of her calf full of wisdom, the distressed cow, sorrowing for her calf, said thus. The cow said, O dear son, I know fully well that all the people are subservient to their actions. Still seized by Maya, I feel much distressed. I have cried a lot, but the sorrow has not subsided. On hearing these words, the calf spoke to her again. The calf said, If you know thus, can anything be gained by crying? Hence leave off your sorrow. Suta said, on hearing the words of her son, the distressed cow heaved a deep sigh and spoke to the calf. The cow said, My distress will disappear only when a similar misery befalls the Brahmin. I am telling you the truth. Tomorrow morning I shall hit him by my horns. No doubt when hit he will lose his life. The calf said, The fruit of previous actions we experience now. What is the fruit you are going to reap as a result of this Brahmin slaughter? When merits and demerits are on a par, one takes birth in Bharat. O mother, when they are wiped off by enjoyment or suffering, liberation is achieved. Sometime the action is destroyed, sometime the action results. That is why you have begun to perform this misdeed. Whence am I your son? Whence are you my mother? This fond consciousness of sonhood and motherhood is futile. Ponder. Where is mother? Where is father? Where is husband? Where is wife? Know that none belongs to anyone here. All the reap fruits of their own actions. O mother, knowing this, you cast off your misery strenuously. If there is a desire for pleasure hereafter, you shall do good deeds here. The cow said, O son, I know this, but delusion does not forsake me. I am much distressed by your misery. I shall return tit for tat. I know the place that dispels the sins of Brahmin slaughter. Going there, I can get rid of the sin of Brahmin slaughter. Suta said, O excellent Brahmins, on hearing these words of the mother cow, the calf observed silence. It did not say anything more. O great sages, on hearing this wonderful dialogue between the two, the pilgrim Brahmin was surprised, and he thought within himself, I shall leave in the morning only after seeing the wonderful sequel. I shall go to that holy spot myself. O Brahmins, after thinking thus, the pilgrim Brahmin devoted to his mother became surprised. He and his servant went to sleep. When the day dawned, the owner of the house got up. Awakening the traveler, he spoke these words. The Brahmin said, Why do you sleep? It is already daybreak. Go on your journey to the place where you desire to go. He replied, Please listen, O Brahmin. There is an acute pain in the stomach of my servant. We will stay a little longer and go thereafter. Suta said, Creating such a pretext, the man continued to sleep, desiring to know the details of the wonderful incident. Creating such a pretext, the man continued to sleep, desiring to know the details of the wonderful incident that had surprised him much. At the time of milking, the Brahmin who wanted to go somewhere on some business spoke to his son. The father said, O son, I am going out on some business. Dear shall carefully milk our cow. Suta said, After saying this, the Brahmin left the house. Thereafter the son got up and untied the calf. The cow approached him herself for being milked. The Brahmin's son, eager for milk, took the distressed calf hit by his father near the cow in order to tie it up. The infuriated cow hit him with her horn. The boy, hit in a vulnerable point, fell unconscious. People gathered there, saying, Oh, the boy is struck by the cow. Fetch water, fetch water. By the time they attempted to do something, the boy died. When the boy died, there was a great hue and cry. His mother was struck with grief. She cried again and again, What shall I do? Where shall I go? Who can I remove my grief? After lamenting thus, she struck the cow and let it off. The cow, which had been white in color, turned black immediately. People cried to one another, Oh see, oh see. On seeing this surprising event, the Brahmin traveler set out and followed the cow as it ran away. Lifting up its tail, the cow ran off to the river Narmada. Coming near the Nandikesha shrine, it dipped itself into the waters of the Narmada thrice. It regained its white color and went away the way it came. The Brahmin was surprised. Blessed indeed is this holy center that removes the sin of Brahmin slaughter. The Brahmin and the servant took their baths there. After the holy dip, they started on their journey praising the river. On the way, they met a beautiful maiden fully bedecked in ornaments. She said, O Brahmin traveler, where do you go in such bewilderment? Eschewing all deceit, tell me the truth here. On hearing these words, the Brahmin narrated everything truthfully. The Brahmin was again addressed by the women, Stay here. On hearing her words, the Brahmin stopped and replied humbly, Speak out what you desire to say. She said again, In the holy spot that you have just seen, cast off the bones of your mother. Why shall you go elsewhere? O excellent traveler, your mother will assume a divine form and will immediately attain the good goal of Shiva. O excellent Brahmin, in the month of Vishaka, on the auspicious seventh day, in the bright half, Ganga comes here always. Today is that seventh day. The river is in the form of Ganga there. Saying so, the lady vanished. O excellent sages, she was Ganga herself. The Brahmin returned. As soon as the cast off half the bones of his mother from his bundle into the holy river, a wonderful incident happened. He saw his mother endowed with a divine form. She said, You are blessed. You have fulfilled your duty. The family has been sanctified by you. May your wealth, food grains, longevity, and line flourish. Blessing her son frequently, she went to heaven. After enjoying excellent happiness there for a long time, She attained the excellent goal, thanks to the grace of Shiva. Her son, the Brahmin, cast off the remaining bones too. He was much delighted in his mind. With contented soul, he returned to his abode. Jai Guruji, with this we finish chapter 5 and 6. Shukrana Guruji.